Welcome to the Exceptional Sales Leader Podcast with Darren Mitchell. If you're a sales leader looking to take your leadership to a whole new level, then this is the podcast for you. We'll be exploring tips, techniques, and strategies to help you take your leadership to the exceptional level and allow you to enjoy more money, more meaning, and better sales results. Welcome back to the Exceptional Sales Leader Podcast, and welcome back to a lady who I was thinking is a lot shorter distance between podcasts, but it's actually been 4 years in the making. And Tanya Pluckrose, welcome back to the podcast. It's been, since July 13th, 2021, to be precise.
That's a long time between drinks, Darren.
It is a long time, and a lot's happened since then, including we've both come out of COVID.
We both have.
I went to Vegas, but unfortunately we couldn't get to connect when you were there, and you're now back in Brisbane, so you're back in town. So welcome back.
Thank you.
How's life?
How's life? It's, if I don't mind me swearing on your show, it's bloody beautiful.
Nice.
It's bloody beautiful. It's so good to be back. After living in Vegas for 4.5 years and only being privy to pigeons, maybe a hummingbird occasionally, but pigeons. And I was just sharing with you before we started, Darren, just going for a walk in nature here, the abundance. I mean, I've fallen in love with Australians' little icon called the kookaburra. I took pictures like I was a Japanese tourist the other day. Oh my God, it's so good to be back. Australians, you don't realize how lovely the nature is here. It truly is magical being back. Yeah.
It is, and it's amazing. We were talking that sometimes us as Australians can, because we live in such a beautiful country, we can take a lot of it for granted. And simple things like a kookaburra flying in and maybe sitting on a fence or on some wires and think, wow, yeah, I'll just keep on going my business. But there's actually a lot in wildlife, fauna, flora that we can pay a lot more closer attention to if we were aware to it.
And also think about it. The more out you are in nature, the more you recalibrate your frequency, and that's how you can become really good at whatever you do if you make the most of nature and the lessons and teachings it gives you that can support you to quantum leap your results in your business.
Absolutely. So, Tanya, we're going to talk about a lot of stuff, mindset related, self-image, paradigm shifts. You've been working in this space for a long time. You run a business, Rich Results Thinking, mindset coaching at Pluckrose LLC. Was based out of the States. You're now back in Brisbane, but your company's probably still in America.
It is, yeah.
And you work with a lot of leaders, a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of business leaders, a lot of CEOs.
I do.
Helping them with a lot of shifting of paradigms, but also, if I can say this quite loosely, getting out of their own way so they can become a lot more successful and run a lot more successful businesses. Before we delve into some of the key elements we'll talk about today, just for the benefit of the listeners, because I'm going to assume there'll be some people who have listened to our conversation 4 years ago, but there's probably a lot that haven't listened to it 4 years ago.
True.
Just a little bit of your background, because you did spend quite a number of years working at the big iconic brand called Qantas as well.
I did.
Love you for give us a bit of a summary on your background and what led you to do what you do today.
Okay, so it was my initial career where I was very loyal to was Qantas, and Qantas was very good to me because it allowed me to climb the ladder of success. And I ended up being like the lead flight attendant. They call it the customer service manager of their big A380. And I was that for 21 years. And then I found love in America. I clipped my wings and moved to America. And when I went there, I made a decision that I was going to go after the American dream and be a business owner, a successful business owner, because at that time in 2015, and even today, free enterprise is alive and well in America. It's catching up here in Australia. I've noticed there's more and more business owners. And so I knew I wanted to be a business owner. So what I did when I went to America in the early days was to take or leverage off what Qantas had taught me, and that was all about the client experience, providing an exceptional client experience, and leverage all that and help Americans increase their client experience. Because when I arrived in America, there wasn't really a client experience. Their client
Mm.
experience was, here's a refund, we'll give you a refund, or have a nice day, enjoy. And I'm like, but you're not creating the loyalty for me to want to come back. The only
Mm.
loyalty you're giving me is you're going to give my money back,
Yeah.
right? And we all know that we want to keep our customers coming back over and over again. So I fell in love with the client experience, and I even wrote a book, The Art of Selling to a Woman, because I believe that, well, as a woman, we do require a different client experience compared to a man. And I did a lot of research on this, wrote the book. And while I was doing all this, I noticed that I wasn't growing my business the way I wanted to be growing it. And I couldn't figure out why I was trying really hard, investing in all those external strategies,
Hmm.
but not actually generating more clients and more revenue. And I couldn't figure it why, what was going on. And within the 4 years, everything started to fall apart. And I was like, what's going on? But out of my demise came the answer. And the answer was from my mentor, the late legendary Mr. Bob Proctor, who said, the results you are getting right now are a reflection of what is going on inside of you. You are being controlled by a paradigm or your programming. And
Mm.
if you want to shift your results, stop doing it on the outside with new methods all the time, but rather go within, shift your paradigm and your identity.
Mm.
Identity? What do you mean? Your self-image. You see, I was operating, trying to grow a business, but I still had the self-image of an employee of a company unconsciously.
Hmm.
And so only by working with Bob and going through a number of his programs was I able to first of all understand what paradigms are and how to change them, but secondly concentrate on becoming a version of myself that has already been in the receivership of the results I wanted. And for many people out there, many salespeople, if you are not getting results, it has nothing to do with your skill set. You see, in sales, you not only need the skill set, but you need the mindset.
Mm.
Now, you hear people say, but I have a positive attitude. I have that. No, 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 no. Let's go a bit deeper. What is mindset? Mindset is all about having the habits as well as the right image of yourself of a very successful salesperson. And that's an inside job because
Mm.
anyone can learn the skill set. Anyone can be a great salesman, right? Because selling, let's be honest, it's the greatest profession in the world. You can out earn a surgeon, you can out earn a lawyer, an attorney, but the reason why most people are not great sales people is they don't have a sales paradigm and they don't have the right image,
Mm.
the image of a successful salesperson. And of course, I didn't have the image of a successful salesperson to sell my products and services and be in the receivership of large sums of money. So that's what
Mm.
I went and worked on, and then everything changed.
Now, you also shared a story, I think it was on LinkedIn, was it today or yesterday, about your move out from Vegas.
Yeah.
I know you spent a bit of time with your parents in Brisbane, and then you've found, because we were going to catch up a couple of weeks ago,
Hmm, hmm.
and a few things got in the way there, but we won't go into that. But you found yourself a place,
Yes.
and there's a lot of talk out there about manifestation and all that sort of
Uh-huh.
stuff. And I've seen a
Yeah.
lot of podcasts where neuroscientists have actually broken that down from a scientific level on how it actually works. Can you just, because this all links to the self-image
It
and everything,
does.
right? So can you just take us through the example that you're now in a place that is probably the place that you didn't expect to be in, but I think you mentioned in your article or your LinkedIn post that it's better than what you thought it was going to be.
Yes.
How did that come about? Because this is a great example
Mhm, mhm.
of what you can picture in your mind, you can actually hold in your hand.
Correct. So I have discovered that we're not harnessing the power of the mind enough and really harnessing our imagination enough. And so Bob taught me this is get clear with what you really, really want and then stay there. But what happens is most of us get clear with what we want, or we're not specific enough. So for this move, I wrote down the specifics of what I was looking for. And then I had to become the version of myself that already had achieved these results. So what does that mean? Well, first of all, I had to do the footwork. And I had to go out and about and look at various places and see if it was a fit. And so I was looking at various places in very well-to-do suburbs or neighborhoods, we say in America.
Mm.
And I was like, oh, this is so run down. Oh, I wouldn't be living here. How much? Oh, no. So can you see I have standards now,
Yes.
standards within me that are very high. I do not settle because my image, I've created this new version of myself that accepts only the best.
Hmm.
It doesn't have to be expensive, not at all, but I have certain standards. So I was looking and I was like, I know what I want, but this isn't a great area, but it's not resonating with me because the moment I step in, it's not feeling right. It's
Mm.
not resonating because your self-image is a feeling. And when you change the way you think, feel, and see yourself, you put yourself in a different on a different frequency. And so you then start to attract things that match that frequency. So here I am sitting on this delicious frequency of abundance and luxury and opulence. And I'm visiting these places. They look good on the outside.
Mm.
But when you went in, I'm like, this is not a vibrational match because everything, including you and me, is energy.
Mm.
So I'm going in going, this is not an energetic match. I'm not doing this. So I went home to my mum and I said, I need to move. And she was a bit disappointed because she's like, well, what do you mean? I said, I can't be near you, mum. I'm going to have to move to another area. I know you want me to be near you to help you. God bless them. They're 96 and 88. I know you want me to be near to you, but I'm going to have to go somewhere else. This area is not working for me. And so, out of the blue, the moment I made the decision,
Mm.
this is not working for me, this is not a vibrational match to my standard, bingo, another area came up in my mind. I then go and research. I'm like, oh, this is looking better. This feels more like a vibrational match. And that's when I came to this area. And the first apartment I saw, I went, that's it. I
Mm.
know that's got my name in it. The moment I walked in, I went, yep, this feels right. This feels right. Because it's the feeling. Are we resonating with the feeling?
Mm.
Right. And I think that's really important to showcase to many salespeople. Here you are, often trying to be a vibrational match, and you're trying so hard to close a sale.
Mm.
When I say sometimes that client or company is just not a vibrational match. It's okay, let go, go somewhere else. There is so much opportunity out there, but many people fight for their good when their good is literally, if you read Price Pritchard's book, U Squared, is literally the fly story. Your quantum leap is somewhere else.
Yeah.
And that's how I found my place because of the identity I've created and then always looking for things to match that identity.
So let's break that down a little bit, Tanya, because I love that story. Because when you were talking, and if people are thinking, well, what is vibrational match? What is frequencies? We all operate on a frequency, just like a radio operates
Hmm.
on a frequency, just like our mobile phones operate on a frequency.
Correct.
But it's a feeling that you get. So you walk in, and people will know this. People listen to this. You walk into some environments, and you get this vibe, this feeling. Hey,
Yes.
there's something about this. I may not necessarily be able to put my finger on it, but it feels good. This is
Yes.
a good place, right? This has got some good energy, etc. You
Yes.
walk into other places and you think, oh, you could literally cut the culture with a knife because there are people that are not collaborating, people are being quiet, people are not communicating. Just being aware of that, right?
Hmm.
So, from a selling perspective, and I know you work with senior leaders around this, we don't. People might be thinking, well, this is a little bit woo woo, but let's break it down because this is science. This is
It is
science in
science.
that. But let's just talk about what are some practical things we can do to create this self-image, right? Because there'll be
Hmm.
people
Hmm.
thinking, you know what, I'm pretty good at sales. I've got the techniques. I've got the process. We follow a buying process. We follow a sales process. I've got a CRM. I'm doing all the things. What are some things that people can, I guess, use, whether it be as a checklist or some
Hmm.
specific things that they can start to focus on to identify the current
Yes.
self-image,
Yep.
but more importantly, make some adjustments to that self-image so they're in a better position to be able to receive the
Hmm.
opportunity that is literally wanting to come to them, but they're putting up barriers.
Okay. So your current self-image, I think you need to look at your results. Where are you not getting the results? So, for example, do you have a money paradigm? Because actually, I want to share with you what I do with my clients is I help them create a new sales paradigm. And a new sales paradigm includes a new self-image. So what I do is I use the stick person. Let me
The
grab
stick
it for you.
person. There we go. There's the stick person.
Okay. So when we talked about sales leaders, what I get my clients to do first is the stick person actually came from Bob Proctor, but Bob Proctor heard about it from Dr. Thurman Fleet. And Dr. Thurman Fleet was a medical doctor in the 1930s, trying to heal people of their symptoms, but he was never getting to the root cause of the problem until he drew a picture of the mind. Because most of us think our mind is our brain,
Mm,
but it isn't. Once you have a picture of the mind, you then start to create order in the mind. And order is heaven's first law. And if you want to live in a heavenly state, you must create order in the mind first. So what I do is with my clients is this is the stick person. And it really is a picture of the mind. So we've got the large circle on the top with a horizontal line and the small circle below. The large circle is broken up with regards to the conscious mind and the subconscious mind, and this is the body.
mm,
Now, in order to shift your self image around sales, you have to first start off, as you said, well, what are my thoughts about selling right now?
mm.
And I often say they were programmed inside of you at a very early age. So, what I do is I take the stick person and I get my clients to write out right now with a certain 5 questions, and I get them to write out, well, how do you see yourself as a salesperson? And just let it all, I say, let the junk come out.
Mhm.
And it could be, oh, I'm not that successful, or I hate asking for the money. So remember, we're asking the conscious mind to give us ideas about it. And the subconscious mind is the feeling center. So we go to, well, how does this make you feel? Because if we broke this up, this is your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions.
Yeah.
And if you do this exercise with 5 different questions, you're going to discover where your current sales paradigm is. What are your thoughts about how you see yourself as a salesperson? What did your family say about sales? What do you think of sales as a profession? What are
Hmm.
your thoughts? What are your feelings? And what are your actions? And you'll often find there's misalignment
Yeah.
because your thoughts will be pretty off. Then you feel lousy and then you don't want to take action. So that's the initial part to find out your sales paradigm and your self image. Then I ask them to go and draw the stick person again, answer the same questions again, but this time write it out either the opposite of what you've just written or write it out the way you would want it to be.
Yeah.
And then that becomes your new self image around selling. Because what we're really doing is we're getting to the root cause of the problem. What are your real beliefs around selling? And
Mm.
if we can get to the root cause, game over. Game over. That's when you're going to start to make good sales. But most people, when I said mindset, most salespeople aren't even teaching this. And this is really going to help you astronomically, if that's such a word, but in an extraordinary way, it's going to help you really change your beliefs around selling using the stick person. How's that, Darren?
Well, it's awesome, and you've done a very good verbal description of that for people that don't see the video. Um, so from your perspective, what are some of the look? Let's just talk about some of the things that
Mm-hmm,
perhaps are
mm-hmm,
preventing people from getting the results that they say they want,
mm-hmm.
but they're not getting. Whether that be a salesperson, a sales leader, or in fact a CEO, or even a person
Right.
running their own company. What are some of the obvious or the most common thoughts that people have that may have their origins in early childhood, for example, such as sales is dirty, sales is pushy, sales is not an act of service, sales is taking, not giving.
So that you think about it, we are programmed with repetition, that particular paradigm to do with selling over and over again. That as much as you try and become a great salesperson with the skill set, guess what's leading the show? It's this unconscious paradigm. And really, our paradigm controls 95% of our entire life. It
Mm.
controls our effectiveness, our efficiency, our productivity, our income. So even salespeople, Darren, I've noticed some salespeople, they'll take off like a rocket ship. I'll never forget meeting this guy who started with Mercedes-Benz as a car salesperson. And he rang me up. He said, I'm off like a rocket. I've just sold a $164,000 car. I've been there only a month. I'm doing really well. I said, oh yeah, I'll ring you in a month's time. And I rang him and he said, I don't know what happened, Tanya, but I've gone backwards. I haven't been able to make another sale. I said, yeah, that's the problem. You've outdone your self-image.
Yeah.
You haven't recalibrated inside the subconscious mind the new income bracket you want to be earning. You can always outdo your self-image, but your self-image is a cybernetic
Mm.
mechanism. And if you get too big for your boots, you will sabotage your success
Mm.
unconsciously, of course not consciously, but you won't be able to repeat the thing you've just done because the mechanism is like a thermometer in a thermostat in a room. And living in Vegas, the room may be lovely 72. And the moment I open up the door, the heat comes in, it goes up to 78. And then it's like, oh my God, we've got to get it down to 72. Quick, put it on, get this room cool. Yet the heat is just coming in, it can't compete. So, this is what happens in sales with regards to results
Mm.
and income.
And so he had, well, maybe he got lucky. Maybe he just happened to find a person who was looking for that particular car at that particular time and think, how good's this? This is just easy. I'll keep doing it. Versus, well, actually, maybe I don't deserve this.
It could have been that. He could have unconsciously got the first sale. The mechanism kicked in and said, oh my God, you've got too big for your boots. count yourself lucky. You were lucky, but never again.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to earn it now. You're gonna
Yeah.
have to work really hard, and then the old belief system kicks in. Nothing's too good to be true. Nothing lasts. There it is. So,
Which actually is a belief system slash a paradigm that is conditioned over time, and it's conditioned not intentionally in many cases. It's just people have just passed down because they've been taught certain ways by their family, their friendship groups, their uncle, the grandparents, whatever.
mhm.
And it almost just becomes a cycle.
It
And
is.
to be able to break out of that for many people is quite challenging because they might be going to courses, buying things like coaching, thinking, as you said before, going to all the external faculties, whereas the real work is inside and saying, okay, what do I want to be? What do I want to stand for? What are my standards going to be? What's my income ceiling? Or what's my income level that is almost like a
Hmm.
platform? How do I take the lid off? Because the other thing as you were talking, I'm thinking experientially, a lot of salespeople have a sales target they're given each year,
That's right.
and they tend to hit that plus or minus 5 or 10%, right? It's very rare that they blow it by 200%. And if they do, then chances are the company's going to recalibrate their target, but that's another story.
Hmm.
Um, and I remember having a conversation with one of my clients a few years ago, and we were talking about her sales target. And I said, well, what if you actually looked at your sales target as a platform and we just doubled it? Whatever the company's saying, let's just double it because we want to actually create a completely different version of you and how you see yourself and use that not as a ceiling, but as a platform, as a like a trampoline to go even further.
Yes, yes, a jumping off point.
Yeah.
Right, right. I think that's really, I think what you did was, that's very clever of you, was you changed her perception.
Mm,
And you can shift anyone's paradigm by shifting their perception. And I think often many people don't think that they can earn more money than what they're earning, is because they make a much bigger income look so big that it looks unattainable. But you can neutralize that number and minimize it. It just depends from what standpoint you are looking at that
mm.
number.
So tell me more about that, because there'll be people listening to this who are thinking, you know what, I'm doing quite well, but nowhere near where I would like to be. And the other thing to throw in is they might also be comparing themselves to people who are very quote unquote
Mm-hmm.
successful, and think, well, why can't I be like that? That person's very lucky. But if you actually look at it, they're not lucky. They've actually just got a completely different self-image, which means they're
That's
actually now
right.
going to be more attractive because they're now on a different frequency where they can actually
Mm-hmm.
attract the things that they're looking for.
So it's all about breaking down the number. So how do you make 1 million look small? You break it down to what's that per month? What's that per day? And often when you break it down, it doesn't look as big. So it's more acceptable to the subconscious mind. So,
Mm,
for example, Bob taught me how to increase my income. And I noticed that some people could accept the idea that I'm easily earning 1 million a year. But some other people's belief system or programming was different. So it was far better to say, I'm enrolling one client a week.
hmm
Can you see how it's more acceptable? Each person has their level of accepting an idea instantly, and everyone is different.
Yep.
So I think that it's up to the individual to break down their sales target into something that you accept as believable. And it could be, oh, I can easily make one sale a day and not even put the figure to it. But one
Yep.
sale a day could mean, well, I'm in the habit of usually, closing 1 million. I work with a lot of real estate clients. And I said,
Mhm.
well, don't look at it as 1 million. I want $1 million client. I said, you've proved you can get $1 million property property to sell instantly, why don't you just say, I'm easily selling one home a month, one home
Mm.
a month, because you already are in an area where you are selling $1 million homes.
Yeah.
So already it's more acceptable and more fun and more enjoyable and less pressure on you to perform. Some people are really good at performing under pressure, and that's
Mm.
their self-image. Others, let's make it a little bit more fun and enjoyable so the pressure isn't on, and then you accept more readily the idea. That's what I
Mm.
mean by breaking it down to the ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I
And
think what I noticed was I used to work for MGM on their private jets as a part-time job because I couldn't let go of my Qantas days. I used to work and I would notice the high rollers. So I noticed it was fascinating working on these jets because I could always tell someone who'd won and who someone had lost the moment they got out of the limousine to board the aircraft. I could tell by their body language whether they'd won or not. And I noticed that the ones that were winning a lot, they made their losses nothing. They were very neutral. And I think what happens is if we put too much emotion into our failures, we start to actually create a failure self image.
hmm
So we need to make peace with failure as just another beautiful exercise of expansion and growth, and try and neutralize everything because everything's run according to the universal laws. And one of them is the law of polarity. And so what goes up must come down, but you can neutralize the effects of the law of polarity by being neutral. So
Yeah.
I'd see these high rollers come up, and I noticed the ones who were not used to gambling a lot or weren't coming in that often, when they lost a million, it was devastating. So they made that a million like a massive loss. Where
Mm.
others who were more regulars, they lost a million. Oh, well, they'd get out of the limousine and throw hundies around. And when I was working there, I noticed that $100 tip was like a $10 tip to them.
Right.
So it's all about where they were standing from is it's only $100. It's only a $10 tip. I can give
Yeah.
that away. So can you see how they normalized the bigger the amount, they had made their subconscious mind normalize the amount and make
hmm
it look small. And
hmm
salespeople can do the same with regards to their sales targets.
Yeah.
Make them look small, and then you achieve them more readily. I hope that
Yeah,
explains.
it does because there's also the perception there as well as to what you make that sales target mean. Because if you look at the sales target, it's easy to look at the start of the year where you've just had a big year, you've tried to do everything you possibly can in the last month or the last quarter
Yeah.
to make the sales target, and then your sales manager comes to you and says, "Well done, Tanya. This is what you achieved. You're 110% of your target. Your new target is what you've achieved plus 25%." And you
Mhm.
go, how am I going to do that? And well, instantly we come from a position of maybe lack because we say, well, where are the opportunities versus what we're saying here is, no, look from a position of abundance to say, hey, that's just another, I've got that in my sphere of influence, my sphere of
Mhm.
reference. It's but a number. So how do I break that down into something ridiculous? And how do I come from a perspective of abundance, not from the perspective of lack and limitation?
Right. And also, I also say that if you're going to rely on just the external strategies of what you've been doing, yeah, it's going to be a big mountain to climb. But
Mm.
what would happen if you harnessed the power of your mind to bring those clients to you? Because I feel most people are relying on external strategies to achieve their goals, and they're not relying enough on the unseen forces to bring you the clients for that sales figure.
Mm.
You keep doing the same thing over and over again. But what would happen if you employed the subconscious mind to do some of the heavy lifting?
Mm,
And this is what I'm saying is you give your subconscious mind with repetition the amount of money you want to be earning or the amount your sales figure wants to be doing. Give it this program and watch the magic happen.
mm,
You don't actually have to do it. And I'll give a true example I'm very proud of was I was working with a CEO and he came to me and over 2 years he wanted to expand his company and he had a plot of land and he wanted to build on it. He had a building on it and he said, I keep getting quotes for 200 million, Tanya. I'm not paying that. I'm just not paying that. So I said to him, well, what do you want to pay? He said, I want it under 30 million. I said, okay, let's make that a goal then.
yeah,
So we made that a goal and I helped him create a new self-image of the person that's received that goal. And then what happened was within 2 months, he started to attract all the collaborative partners to help him manifest that price point for the expansion of his company and that project. And then I mean we got very clear with the goal and the sort of people he wanted to work with. And he went, I did it literally, he did it within 6 months.
yeah.
And I said, there is exactly my point. This is how you don't have to do all the cold calling and all of this when you can attract that sort of client. That could be one client. So here is people thinking, oh, I've got to reach the sales client. And I'm like, it could be one client, just one client. That's all you need. But you think you need at least another 50 to
Mm.
meet that 25% more. And I'm like, you can have a quantum leap at any time, anywhere, but it's all about how you program the mind. And then that does the heavy lifting for you.
Now, people listening to this, because I know when Bob was he was part of The Secret, and he talked a lot about the law of attraction, which is obviously a
Mm-hmm.
secondary law because it's the law of vibration, which is the primary law. Um, there was a lot of people that thought, "Hey, let's just manifest," and it was a big viral thing that let's use the law of attraction and just wish upon a star and wish upon a bicycle, and it'll come to you, right? So one thing I just want to make sure we still have to do some work here, right? So the client you were talking about that
Yes.
needed to I guess collaborate with key people who had the
Yeah.
skill set and the capability. He still had to network. He still had to meet. Still had to do stuff, right? So it's not like he's sitting in
It
his
wasn't
in his
sitting
beanbag.
up. He wasn't having, as I say, another gin and tonic on the couch or a bag of Doritos over there. No, what happened was, what I love is that he went within first. He was still running the company. He went within, but then he got inspired ideas that were very different, and some of them were so illogical, but he went and did them anyway. And
Hmm.
then he would be like at a conference and then he'd go, oh, I should go to bed now. I've got a big day tomorrow. And he'd be like, no, I feel like a nightcap. And then he'd go and sit on the bar stool next to the guy who owns the exact company. That's what I mean. I mean, that was hard yakka. I'm going to go and have a nightcap. But that was an inspired idea. And there's the guy on the bar stool saying, oh, I can help you expand your company. Yeah, I have a construction company that can help you do that. Sure.
Yeah.
I think your inspired ideas are far more fruitful than you trying to figure it out all the time.
So I love that because I it's almost like a disassociation from the outcome. I mean, I'm really clear on what the outcome ultimately is, but
Yes.
I'm not wedded to I have to go down this path. I'm just going to be open to the opportunities that will come to me, understanding though I will track that because I've held the image in my mind
That's
to
right.
begin with. And so,
Correct.
from a selling perspective, there's a lot of people out there that perhaps have a view of sales as being quite desperate, and people might have commission breath. And when you have commission breath, it comes across as I'm trying to sell you because I need this sale,
Uh-huh.
versus sales is the ultimate form of service. I am and I have a solution to a problem. Whether you want to solve that problem or not, let's explore that.
Hmm.
But I'm going to be open to that conversation, and therefore I'll be attractive to people who are looking for the solution to the particular problem that they are wanting to solve. And as you just said, it's amazing where you're going to be placed in situations and in circumstances where you'll get to meet these people and cross paths with these people, and you think, "Wow, that was pretty random." No, it wasn't.
Mm-mm,
No, it
mm-mm.
wasn't.
I'm going to say it hasn't been sunshine, lollipops, and roses for this um, CEO to achieve his results. Remember, he's had to go through a lot of ups and downs to achieve this goal, but he's learned the art of neutralizing and not allowing outside circumstances to control his thinking
Mm,
and still keep moving forward, because you will always know if you've got the right goal because it will make you worthy of it,
mm, yeah.
very worthy of it. And that's why I feel that most salespeople could go a lot bigger than what they're going. But it's, you've got to get used to being uncomfortable most of the time.
And for a lot of people, Tanya, I'd be interested in your thoughts on this. They work in sales teams where all of the quote unquote inspiration and motivation is external, and they're in an environment where they're almost competing against people who perhaps have a similar self-image to what they
That's
do.
it.
So it's like the herd mentality. So
Uh-huh.
how do we we've got to be able to separate ourselves and say, hey, my current circumstances does not necessarily define me. It is not who I am. I'm so much more than that. But that's where your self-image and your paradigm shift
That's
needs
right.
to come in.
That's
But
right.
I want you to delve even further, and that is from a decision point of view. Because there's a difference between a decision and a committed decision. So we've
Hmm.
worked on the self-image. We're thinking, okay, I'm a CEO, I'm a
Hmm.
sales leader, I'm a salesperson.
Hmm.
I want to be able to attract, I'm worthy of this revenue number, this commission number, this sales number, this income number.
Hmm.
Then there's a decision that has to be made. So can you talk about the importance of decision and the difference between a decision
Hmm.
and a committed decision?
Hmm. Okay. So there's a huge difference because often, I mean, we're making decisions all day long. However, I feel that we often are making decisions from a place of often getting all our ducks in a row first, and then we make the decision. Now, there's nothing wrong with making an informed decision, but sometimes when you know it feels right, that's when you should act. Like the CEO went, it feels right to go. It doesn't feel right to have um, the nightcap, but I'm going to do it anyway. And that
Mm,
was the breadcrumb to his bakery, so to speak. So I feel that most people are not making decisions from their future self, from their highest version of themselves. They're making it from their current image.
mm,
And that's why it's so important you create a new identity. Then each day you're asking your higher self, what would I do in this situation? Where would I go? What would I say? So it's always making decisions from that frequency rather than this current vibration you're in.
yeah.
And I find that, as Bob says, if you're going after a big goal, right, it's you've got to make the decision that you're willing to pay the price. I am not going to vacillate. This is what I want, and I'm prepared to pay the price. And what's the price? Well, the price is persistence.
Yeah.
Persistence, not only on the external, but on the internal as well, to constantly show up even when nothing is changing on the outside yet.
Mm,
Yet. Often, when you're going after a big daddy, the opposite will happen. All hell will break loose because the law of polarity kicks in and causes you to go backwards before you have the quantum leap. And you've got to hold the faith no matter what. I am going to have this. No
mm,
matter what, I'm going to have this. And then, of course, the more you remain neutral about the lack of results, the quicker you achieve the goal.
Mm.
But that's the work. That's the work. And I've noticed that many people are making decisions, but then they change their mind. Then they change their mind. Then they change their mind. And many people are like, for salespeople, as you said, you've got a lovely paradigm to do with selling, but most people are coming to a sales conversation with a money paradigm. They
Mm.
haven't made peace with money. And in order to make peace with money, that's another paradigm you need to create that supports you to not ever, ever worry about money again. Because
Mm.
as you said, if you've made peace with money, you wouldn't even be having that in the back of your mind as you're serving someone. It
Yeah.
just wouldn't be part of the conversation because you're there to serve. So I hope that makes sense about the decision. As Bob says, your goal, your new big goal, sits on a frequency. And the moment you make the decision, I'm bloody well gonna have that, whether it's a new sales goal or maybe it's a customer, a client, a company you want to be working with.
Yeah.
Once you make the decision, then the goal is already yours. It's already 90% yours, but then
Mm.
and you've got to hold the faith that it is yours no matter what. And this is where the repetition comes in as well as the footwork.
Mm.
To hold the faith that you are going to be working. And I say repetition, it's more the work you do when no one's watching.
Yeah.
What are your inner conversations all day
Yeah.
about yourself? I mean, most people are not getting their sales goals, not achieving them because they haven't changed the internal conversations they're saying about themselves all day long. And your inner conversations are creating your current destiny.
Mm.
And that's part of your new self-image.
And you need to be aware of that, more consciously aware of that, and start to think about and reprogram that.
Mm-hmm.
I love, and whether it's affirmations or whether it's a specific goal, you need to be, that's where the repetition comes into it.
Mm-hmm.
And the moment is, are there any techniques? So, for example, the clients that you work with, where they continue to have that, I guess, the self-talk that's there,
Mm-hmm.
in order to when they feel themselves or notice themselves saying that, how do they flip the switch or flip the script instantly? Is it affirmations? Is it breathing? Is it something? Because there'll be people listening to this and say, I've never achieved that goal. I've never achieved that level of income. And so their self-talk, which is the paradigm, which is the cybernetics mechanism, is saying, no, this is your mean era. This is where you're going to always be. You say you want that, but really you want that because that's what you keep telling yourself.
Right. So the first part is awareness of what are you saying about the decision you've made about the goal, because I say have the goal, then create the dialogue that matches that experience, that goal you want. So,
Mm.
for example, it might be that a good I kind of get like I say that I have the visual of what I want. I've written it down on a goal card. I know where I'm going, and then I have 4 or 5 statements that I've programmed myself about myself that I constantly reiterate. So, for example, I want to work for Google, or it might be a Fortune 500 company.
Hmm.
Then I would say conversations like, for myself, this is what I'd be saying. Well, I'm the best of the best. Of course, going to work for Google. What's wrong with you? Of course. Why are you the best, Tanya? I'm the best because I've been trained by the best.
Mm.
I've been trained by Bob Proctor. Many of my clients have got results, quantum leap results. I've studied for well over 5 years. I have dedicated my life to. So when you can sit down and write out the self-image script of this,
Mm.
then all throughout the day, the doubts were coming. And I go, shh, get on. You're the best. Of course, you're going to be working for Google. Why, Tanya? And then the whys The whys are the reasons that create the belief within the subconscious mind. Many people are saying affirmations, but they're not giving reasons as to why you are that. And
Hmm.
it's the reasons that create the fact. And that's what is the inner conversation all day long as to why you are that and why you're going to have that.
So let's just take that as an example. You want to work for Google, right?
Yep.
And all the stuff you've just spoken about, what would be some of the whys that a person could
Mhm.
use as an example that can help to, I guess, confirm that self-image, confirm
Mhm.
the goal that you've got, that
Yep.
can actually start to reprogram that the subconscious mind.
Okay. Well, what I've just said is actually, I've got the best program in the world. It's changed millions of lives. It's made many people millionaires. So I've got the best program in the world. I've been trained by the best. So for
Hmm.
a salesperson, they could be saying, I want this client. Why? Because my product is premium. It's the best of the best. These are the benefits of my program. I want to work for this company because I really create an exceptional client experience. I really care about my clients. I want to work for this company, Google, because I've been my past experience has been this working for this company, and I learned so many lessons that I would love to share with this company. So the reasons could be um, why you're the best of the best,
Hmm.
and then if you keep repeating those those facts, they are facts. Come on, they're facts. You keep repeating them to yourself, you then have a rock solid belief
Yeah.
in yourself that you're going to be working for that company.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's as
And
simple
then
as that.
And then
Yeah.
it's just a matter of time before that actually comes into the physical form. Because as Bob says,
Mhm.
anything you can actually achieve in here, you can hold in your hand. What you
Correct.
don't know, which is the law of gestation, you just don't know what's the time that's going to have to pass in order for that to materialize.
Right. And
And that can be the
the
challenge.
quicker it can happen, the more you can release the fear, doubt, and worry and stay in the present moment and all day long focus on what you want. Most
Mm,
people will only focus for their 15 minutes in the morning or their 15 minutes at night. No, it's got to become a lifestyle. You've got to be obsessed. You're going to
mm,
have this. It literally, I can be out and about and someone can be talking to me, but I've got the image on my screen of my mind of where I'm going that I sometimes has to say, Tanya, were you listening? Because I'm in the present moment, but I'm really in the boardroom of my mind, living in that home, working for those CEOs, doing that, working for companies. I'm that not just 15 minutes in the morning when I wake up.
mm,
I'm there all day long,
yeah.
as often as I can be. And it's the habitual residency in that future place that causes it to manifest a lot quicker.
Mm, love it. Love it. Hey, this has been we'll probably have to do another one. We can go a lot longer. Um, no, I love this, and I think people listen to this. It starts with well, awareness. It starts with belief. It starts with the conversation you're having with yourself. It's about creating that picture and really thinking about what is it that you want,
Mhm.
um, and and really delving into that. But as you say, not doing it for 15 minutes or reading it once in the morning, once in the afternoon, once at night time. It's just keeping it at the forefront of your mind in terms of this is who you are becoming, but also
Mhm.
understanding this is who you are.
That's
So
right.
that's the key thing.
Yeah.
Um, so, hey, love this conversation, and it's always a pleasure to speak with you,
You're
whether it's
welcome.
on a podcast or not on a podcast.
Right?
For people who are now listening to this who want to connect with you and learn more about
Mhm.
what you do, who are in your sweet spot in terms of whether they're a
Hmm.
sales leader, CEO, etc., or looking to just to make some quantum changes and quantum
Hmm.
leaps in their results. Where's the best place for them to connect with you and
I think LinkedIn,
access
I'm
to you?
on LinkedIn a lot. I do a lot of posts on LinkedIn to help thought leaders on there. So LinkedIn would be the first thing. I've got a YouTube channel, so they can come and listen to this on YouTube. And um, you can just book a call with me. I'm happy to sit down and just iron out exactly what do you want. Get
Yeah.
very clear with it and showcase to you just how possible it is for you,
Mm,
right? Just by shifting your perception of how you're thinking about it. That's it.
love it. Love it. Tanya, I'll put all that in the show notes, and I highly
Okay.
recommend people connect with you and learn more about what you do, because you're a firecracker of an individual and you create
Thank you,
some
darling.
great results. What we didn't get to talk about, which we'll have to do a follow-up episode,
Okay.
is the difference between Australia and the US.
Oh,
So,
yeah. Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
that's a paradigm shift in itself. So
Yeah, and it
we'll
would
have,
be so good to bring Australians to America, but from a positive point of view, just to share some innovative ideas that are happening that
mm,
are slightly different, that I know Australia will catch up and have, but what would happen if I could share them with everyone
mm,
now rather than later?
absolutely, absolutely.
Okay.
Hey Tanya, great to see you again. Thank you so
Thank
much for
you.
being
Thank
a
you
guest
for
on the podcast, and look forward to catching up again soon.
Thanks, Darren. Thanks everyone for listening in. Bye for now.
Thank you for listening to the Exceptional Sales Leader podcast. I trust the information in this episode has been helpful in your journey towards becoming exceptional. And remember, please take the time to rate the show, subscribe to the show so other people can find it. But also, if I can help you, jump on my calendar, go to leadwithdarren.com and let's have a conversation about how I can help you along your journey to being exceptional.